We see computers doing these incredible things, right? They're mapping genomes, landing rovers on Mars. You'd think they're pretty much limitless. But what if I told you there are questions computers can never answer? I'm talking about problems that are just fundamentally impossible to solve, not just for your laptop, but for any computer we could ever dream of building. That's the mind-bending world we're diving into today, the theory of computation. Okay, so it really all boils down to this one single powerful question. What can be computed and how efficiently? And look, this isn't just some dusty academic thing. This question is basically the North Star for all of computer science. It's what helps us figure out the absolute limits of what we can do with code, separating what's actually possible from what's just pure science fiction. All right, so to get our heads around all this, here's our game plan. We'll start with that big question we just talked about. Then we'll dive into the three core branches of the theory. We're going to look at automata, the pattern matchers, tackle computability and the impossible problem, and then get into complexity, easy versus hard, all leading up to understanding the real limits of algorithms. So to tackle that one huge question, computer scientists have basically developed this awesome toolkit, and it's split into three main branches. Think of it like this. Each branch tackles a different piece of the puzzle, and they all build on each other to give us the full picture of what computation is all about. Okay, first up, you've got automata theory. This one asks the most fundamental question of all. What even is a machine? Then, building on that, we have computability theory, which asks, all right, now that we have a machine, what can it actually compute? What problems can it solve? And finally, complexity theory comes in with a big dose of reality. It asks, okay, great, it's solvable, but can we solve it efficiently? Before the heat death of the universe? All right, let's dive into our first branch, automata theory. This is really where it all begins, with the absolute simplest idea of what a machine can be. Seriously, think of it as the foundational Lego block for everything else we're going to talk about. It's all about these abstract machines that are just ridiculously good at one thing, recognizing patterns. So, at the very heart of this branch is something called the finite automaton. It's pretty much the most basic, bare-bones model of computation you can imagine. We're not talking about a supercomputer here. It's just a simple little machine designed to do one specific job and do it really, really well. Okay, here's a perfect example, a vending machine. Just think about it. It has a few simple states, right? It's either waiting for money, or you've put money in, or it's dispensing your snack. It moves between these states based on what you do, putting in a coin, pressing a button. Crucially, it has no memory of what happened before. It only knows its current state. That's exactly how a finite automaton works. It sounds simple, but this idea powers stuff you use every single day, like the find feature in your text editor, or even network protocols checking if data is valid. Okay, so we've got a handle on these simple machines. Now, let's level up. We're moving on to our second branch, computability theory. And trust me, this is where things get really interesting. We're shifting from what machines can do to exploring the absolute hard limits of what they can ever do. This is where we start running into the truly impossible. So, to explore these ultimate limits, we're going to need a more powerful model than a vending machine. And that's where the Turing machine comes in. Now, this isn't a real physical device you can go buy. It's a brilliant theoretical concept dreamed up by the one and only Alan Turing. And here's the absolutely amazing part. This simple idea, on paper, is powerful enough to simulate any computer algorithm you could possibly think of. And what's crazy is how simple it is. You've just got an infinitely long strip of tape, a little head that can read and write symbols on it, and a set of rules. That's it. But from those ridiculously basic parts, you'll get the theoretical blueprint for every single smartphone, laptop, and supercomputer ever made. The Turing machine basically draws the line in the sand. If a Turing machine can't solve a problem, then no computer can. Period. So that begs the question, if this Turing machine is so incredibly powerful, is there anything it can't do? Well, the answer is a huge, profound yes. And that leads us straight to one of the most famous, or maybe infamous, problems in all of computer science, the halting problem. Okay, so here's the puzzle. Imagine you could write a piece of software, a master program, that could look at any other program and tell you for sure, will this program eventually finish and halt, or will it get stuck in an infinite loop and run forever? Sounds super useful, right? A perfect bug chucker. Well, Alan Turing proved it's completely impossible. His proof is this brilliant, mind-bending paradox. He basically showed that if a program like that did exist, you could force it into a situation where it would have to contradict itself. It would have to lie. And the bottom line here is just massive. It means there are some problems that are just fundamentally unsolvable by any computer, ever. Okay, so knowing what's possible versus impossible is a huge deal. But believe it or not, it's not the whole story. That brings us to our final branch, complexity theory. This field deals with problems that we know are totally solvable, but it asks a much more practical question. Can we actually solve them in a reasonable amount of time? This is where we get into the world of easy versus hard problems. And this brings us to two really famous classes of problems, P and NP. So problems in P are considered easy. Think about something like sorting a list of names. Even if the list is huge, a computer can do it pretty darn fast. Now, NP problems are different. They can be incredibly hard to solve, but if someone gives you the answer, it's really easy to check if it's correct. The perfect example is a Sudoku puzzle. Solving a hard one can feel impossible, right? But if I hand you a completed puzzle, you can verify that it's a valid solution in like a minute. That's NP. And this, right here, leads us to maybe the biggest unsolved question in all of computer science. A problem so important there's literally $1 million prize waiting for whoever solves it. The question is, does P equal NP? Or, to put it in plain English, if a problem's answer is easy to check, does that automatically mean the problem is also easy to solve? Now, most computer scientists are pretty sure the answer is no, that solving is just fundamentally harder than checking. But so far, no one has been able to actually prove it.
Whew. Okay, so after that whirlwind tour through the very foundations of computing, what's the big takeaway? Let's tie this all together and just recap what we've learned about the amazing power and the profound limits of algorithms. So, what have we learned? We've seen that the theory of computation gives us this incredible framework for understanding what is and isn't computable. It's all built on those three branches, right? Automata theory gave us our simple pattern matchers. Computability theory showed us that there are problems, like the halting problem, that computers can literally never solve. And finally, complexity theory gave us a way to classify the solvable problems by how efficiently we can tackle them, the whole P versus NP thing. You know, it's kind of amazing when you think about it. Alan Turing gave us both the blueprint for the modern computer and the proof of its ultimate limits. And this quote really captures that beautiful paradox. Understanding what's impossible isn't a downer. It's actually a guide. It frees us up to focus all our energy and creativity on the vast universe of problems that can be solved, letting us push the boundaries of what's possible, one algorithm at a time.